on the harsh realities newly freed Black people faced and the long civil rights struggle that goes on today. CBS's Skylar Henry has more.
From dancing in the nation's capital to a parade in Galveston, Americans across the country are celebrating Juneteenth. Now a federal holiday after President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law on Thursday. The first federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was declared in 1983.
I think that connection to the past is what we really have done well and reminded people of, that it didn't start yesterday.
Kevin Young is the director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture.
How should the nation celebrate, remember the day?
That tradition of having Emancipation Day festivities, celebrating with singing, lift every voice and sing, with food, with fellowship, that's a big part of African American culture. And we have to remember that joy and pleasure are important aspects of resilience.
We have this case here in the exhibition on slavery and freedom.
That resilience is what those who were newly free needed to literally survive. Museum curator Mary Elliott.
What was that time like for those who had received the word that they were free now?
Well, it wasn't met with joy, jubilation with everyone, quite obviously. There was confusion. It was met with violence, violent reprisal to those people who were enslaved and now gained their freedom. Just walking around being free was dangerous.
And what followed was more than a century and a half of protests for civil rights.
Putting it in a fellow calendar allows us to ask this country a question. Are y'all ready for everybody to be equal?
Dr. Greg Carr heads the African American Studies Department at Howard University and attended this week's bill signing at the White House.
Juneteenth has never been about celebration only. It's celebration paired with protest. It is remembering paired with action. If we don't do the action, if we don't do the protesting and the demanding, then we're not celebrating Juneteenth.
A call for not only action, but reflection, Dr. Carr says, gauging how far this country has come and how far it has left to go. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
For such a pivotal slice of history, only this historical marker recognized Galveston's role in Juneteenth.
Many times I would drive through the intersection and notice that people were walking by but not reading the marker.
For historian Sam Collins, an idea was born. A blank wall a few feet from the marker as a canvas. A museum in the form of a mural, on the spot where a Union general signed the order freeing enslaved people in Texas.
We were here at sunup to typically sundown.
Reginald Adams led a team of artists using 6 cherry pickers, 350 gallons of paint, and the encouragement of passersby.
As it became a performance piece, right here in the heart of downtown Galveston, you would have hundreds of people standing on the corners watching the artist bring the mural to life.
The mural is called Absolute Equality, the exact words used in the order ending slavery in Texas. The 5,000 square foot panorama depicts Harriet Tubman, Abraham Lincoln holding a broken shackle, and the general who signed the order flanked by soldiers.
I dropped down and cried when we finished because I didn't think we could do it.
The faces of those soldiers are those of the artists.
But what this mural does is it puts a face on over 150 years of history, so that whether you like it or not, you can't help but see this work of art.
I know a little of my history, and that we survived it, and we lived through it.
For Lawrence Thomas, it has special meaning. His great-great-grandfather was enslaved by one of Galveston's founders, who lived in this home, the island's oldest.
What do you think Juneteenth means in 2021?
To me, it should be a celebration of understanding.
For Sam Collins, who grew up in Galveston but says there were no lessons about Juneteenth, it's a chance to affect change.
I'm not upset about what didn't happen in the past. It's my job now to teach the history today so that future generations won't have these gaps in the history story.
The power of public art, an outdoor classroom helping preserve history. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Galveston. Texas. The 5,000 square foot panorama depicts Harriet Tubman, Abraham Lincoln holding a broken shackle, and the general who signed the order flanked by soldiers.
I dropped down and cried when we finished because I didn't think we could do it.
The faces of those soldiers are those of the artists.